Hey there, my friends. This is Dave Wood, and I am in front of my swimming pool in Costa Rica with a special message for you today. As you're watching today's content, I'm going to be giving you step-by-step strategies that I've personally used to multiply my own profits over and over again without spending any additional money, getting more traffic, spending more time, or adding any products to my business. Now, this video is part number one of a two-part series that will show you 4 powerful steps to multiply your income and sales online and also expand your reach without spending any more money as you're building a better and also more powerful system in your own business. So the question is, how can you dramatically multiply the money that you're making without adding anything to your business? Well, over the past few years, I've learned how to take an existing, proven sales process and then incrementally increase its power to extract commissions and multiply profits by applying strategic thinking, conversion optimization, and also multilingual expansion in a progressive and also a systematic way. Applying these expansion systems in my own business have allowed me to create traffic that grows in a steady pattern without any more work involved. It also allows me to tap into new markets and take the same products and dramatically extend my reach beyond what was possible even just a few years ago when I started my company. So the question is, though, before you expand your reach, how can you actually get started in profiting a business online? Well, creating a profit expansion machine online actually begins by simply having something that works and can sustain its own daily and monthly sales production through systems that produce something that I call viral sustainability. For those of you who've actually been through the training that we have here at Empower Network in our 6-Figure Builder Club, we talk about that. Without revealing the core of some of our most coveted secret strategies that we don't actually train to the public that you'll learn inside the Total Shortcut system, what I'm going to tell you right now is that the simple explanation for this concept of viral sustainability is simply creating traffic processes in your business that sustain themselves from the traffic that you're already generating. What exactly do I mean by that? Well, what I mean is that if you can create a viral sustainability process, you can make one new visitor turn into at least one other new visitor, meaning if you generate 100 clicks to your website, the activity by those people who click creates an action-based response that results in an average of 1 more click per person, or 100 more clicks in that case. And that perpetually sustains your sales and traffic from the visitors that you generate, so you can just continue to multiply your reach when you add traffic. Now, years ago, I actually sold a course on perpetual traffic systems, and I actually took that off the market years ago because it got outdated. And then we currently teach strategies that work inside of our core products in a simple and a dynamic way that actually work with a lot of people from different backgrounds. I'm going to talk more about that later in future episodes here at the Daily Shortcut and also inside the membership site. But in my opinion, this should be the first concept that actually overlays on top of what you're doing. Because if you can't sustain your sources of traffic, it doesn't actually matter how good your funnel works. Your profits will eventually go down and it'll keep costing more to get the same customers. So my question is, what's the next step in a process after you have something working? Well, simply put, it's to make it to where the traffic system that you're using profits in a consistent and predictable way, whether it's initiating your perpetual flow of visitors through paid traffic strategies and that's generating profit, or whether your blogging is profiting, your video marketing, or some other sort of online hack that you're using to get traffic online. And when you're in consistent profit and you can sustain a certain level of profit without kind of stressing yourself out, what you can do is you can take these strategies that I'm outlining today and tomorrow and strategically think through optimizing your sales and traffic processes piece by simple piece, and also realize this, that every single process that you improve will not just grow your profits by the percentage of the increase in that step. It will actually multiply your entire profits and feed into a multiplication of the profits you're actually creating in the next steps in your sales process as well. However, to do any of what I'm about to describe, you actually need to focus on building your system, not just selling stuff. systems are more important than charisma, and then charisma needs to be added on top of them in order to make it work right. If you're using charismatic energy to sell things with no supporting infrastructure, the second you stop and get exhausted, your income and sales will collapse from the collapse of your personal energy, because that's how it's maintained. It's not maintained through systems. And to illustrate what I'm talking about, let me actually tell you a quick story to demonstrate what I mean. There's been several times over the years, doing hundreds of millions of dollars in sales, that I've launched products and income creation systems to add to our portfolio of income streams here for the members of the Total Shortcut system and also people at Empower Network. Sometimes I've launched those things with a system that was already proven and already had processes that were generating and sustaining the sales every time we added traffic and customers. And sometimes what I've simply done is launch them from a charismatic, ballistic sales energy without any supporting system infrastructure. What do you think worked better? Well, here's the interesting thing. They both work if you're good. However, here's what I've experienced and learned. In 2011, for example, I launched a sales process that was actually built on top of a perpetual traffic system that sustained and multiplied itself through existing traffic sources, and all the sales were sustained through automatic behavioral response systems built into our website, built into every process through everything we're doing. In other words, for every action that somebody took, we actually had a custom dynamic response that was built into a custom communication architecture that I constructed, and I actually had it coded with my own coders from my imagination and planning as I was thinking through and watching conversions, and I was thinking about the ideal way to help people coming into my organization make money quickly and stay in profit. And then what happened in 2011, 2012 is I went on a ballistic charismatic stampede of sales, creating new income and success stories, and we did around $1 million in sales our very first month doing that. Well, here's the interesting thing though. In that first 12 months following that $1 million sales campaign, it wasn't the biggest launch ever by any means, but it turned into the biggest movement in info marketing at the time. And we did over $30 million our first year from that ballistic campaign. It just continued to expand, and the traffic expanded to over 50 million page views a month, and we got up into the top 190 websites worldwide. I then, after that, collapsed from energy exhaustion about 6 months in from working all day and night. And then I didn't work that hard after that for the next couple of years, but the sales continued to systematically and ballistically expand, even better than when I was there and when I was actually working. We grew from $1.5 million a month to $7 million a month with almost zero work over the next year. And that was actually sustained entirely by a behavioral response marketing system that was built into a perpetual traffic machine that later expanded into 216 countries and territories while I was doing very little. Well, how did I do that? Well, I did it by applying these strategies on top of an existing infrastructure that was creating perpetually sustained viral traffic like I talked about. So what are the strategies? Well, here's strategy number one, and that is creating behavioral dynamic responses in your sales architecture. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, if you simply had a sales video and then when somebody buys your stuff, they all experience the exact same process, that will work to a certain level if your sales process works. However, if you want to dramatically enhance your sales, what you actually want to do, especially today, is have behavioral changes in that process where your process actually changes when the behaviors of your visitors change, and create custom pathways of communication and sales depending on what they do and depending on what they don't do. And you can be as simple and as complex as you want with that. But if you simply look through what you're doing and you ask at every part, would I increase sales right here from this email, from this process, if I sent a different response, whether someone clicks, doesn't click, where they go on the page, what they don't watch, what they do watch, will that increase it? Well, the short answer to that question is that you need to test it to see what's going to work better. The second answer is yes, right? And that's playing with the idea of behavioral responses and automating it absolutely will increase sales everywhere you do it where it makes sense. But I don't want you to limit that to one idea or concept like email, although that's a good place to start in your marketing. In other words, one of the things that doubled our own sales that you could do in your business, especially if you're using our systems that have better automation than what's available in other places in the market, is simply re-emailing people that don't open an email that we send every day with a little bit of a different subject line and a custom message that says something along these lines. It says, "Hey Frank, did you get my email that I sent? Here's the message. I noticed that you didn't open it." And then we just repeat the exact same email message. Literally takes somebody 10 minutes. That process alone actually doubled our front-end sales from daily promotion emails. Now that same process wouldn't work in another area, but it worked right there because we tested it. However, we also have custom responses through every process inside of our funnel that nobody would ever be able to map out if they tried for 10 years from going through it. Here's the reason why. They would actually have to buy 100 times and choose different options and responses to ever even see that stuff. In other words, they can't see it in the code. They can't see it if they try to look at the website. They can't see it from one account. They would actually have to respond in a different way to ever see it, because if somebody maybe sees a video in our sales process and doesn't buy, they're going to get a different response than somebody who does buy, and then somebody who sees the next video and clicks on one thing will get a different response than another that all feeds into the same core process. But you wouldn't know that unless you actually went through that process 100 times and acted like all of those people. But if they don't choose that behavior, here's the thing, they're never going to see it because it's based on what they're doing, the buyer behavior. So the more that you can customize your sales responses, the more your sales will increase from the same amount of traffic. Before I proceed to strategy 2, I'm actually going to give you a quick example of that. This is no different than how a salesperson who's really good on a one-on-one basis will actually change the way that they're selling to different kinds of people. For example, if you have a really good car salesman that's not dirty and oily and didn't try and force you to do something you don't want to do, and that person just behaves the same way all the time with every different kind of customer, obviously if you're not like the kind of customer he's talking to, you're not going to buy. But if he changes his behavior to match what you want, what you're looking for, obviously he can sell you more stuff. Does that make more sense to you? Strategy number 2. This is going to be split testing each part of your behavioral response sales process once you have it in place and it's proven to work. Now, once you have a system that is working in every part of the system, you can actually go through your entire sales sequence and simply try new things at each step if it's sustainable and you're not going to lose anything, that have a good chance of increasing conversions. And you want to test things, especially if you have a lot of traffic, with small segments of your traffic and then move it across everything else. If you look at this page, for example, it's on a custom-coded content system that has context-specific calls to action that are actually unique for every episode that we put out. And we put these out 5 days a week. In other words, the PDF that we give you today is not the same as the previous show and not the same as tomorrow. We give you a context-specific workbook that is created 5 days a week that specifically applies to the message that you're hearing, and maybe you'd want one of the bonuses and you wouldn't want another, or maybe you actually want to improve your business everywhere and you want to download them all. In other words, when you put your name and email in the form below, you're going to get bonuses that actually help you apply today's message in your business. And that's true every single day as a part of our content marketing system that is just in the initial expansion mode right now. In other words, we're just starting with this. This is part of a grand scheme, if you will. So if you look at this page over the next 30 to 60 days after our initial rollout of the behavioral response system that we call the Total Shortcut system, and that's actually a modified, superior version of my existing platform, you're going to see split testing everywhere on these pages as we roll new things out. And I suspect, for example, that putting a two-step opt-in as one example of a thing that we're going to test right below this video, which is a button that opens a capture form, that's what a two-step opt-in is, I'm guessing that that'll actually convert way better than the current leads process that we're using on this page. I also believe that the dynamic social sharing mechanisms that we're going to install are going to create better traffic sustainability and increase of traffic and multiplication. In other words, it will more effectively turn one visitor into another one and then another one. I also believe that if I put the transcript of the episode below the video rather than just on the bonus page, we'll actually get more opt-ins by simply giving it to people right there on the page and saying, give me the PDF version of the workbook. In other words, they'll get it even if they don't opt in. Why do I say I believe those things will work on all the things that I said? Because I haven't actually tested them and I don't know if they actually work better. They're hunches based on looking at data, based on market research, and I won't actually know if they work better in our market for a couple of months. But every single little thing that I slightly improve in my process, it actually creates a multiplication in my entire perpetual sales system. And it actually improves everyone's incomes in my entire system and in my community, and improves my own income as well. Are you following me here? I know that this is a little bit of complex thinking. However, this is how you build a real sustainable business that has an expanding traffic and sales wave that just continues to work and increase through every obstacle that you'll ever encounter. And if you do it, it will expand your sales. Now we're going to get to the exciting parts of today's message, which is in tomorrow's episode, I'm going to teach you the secrets. I'm joking a little bit. I want to actually help you implement these strategies step by step. So I've put the rest of the strategies, which to me are the most exciting, in tomorrow's episode. And right now what you can do is you can download the PDF workbook that I've developed for today's strategies, an audio download. And you can also get the checklist as a part of our total shortcut system, which is an action checklist that will actually give you every day to actually improve your business one day at a time in less than an hour of work. So right now, here's what you want to do next. Go ahead and put your name and email below in the form. Start applying these strategies in your business today. Go ahead and comment on your biggest takeaway today below, and let's help your business get a little bit better. And tomorrow, we're going to talk about systemic content expansion to multiply your efforts that you're taking every day, and also building multilingual sales systems that add new markets as you're growing your system. And the best part is you can do this. And if this is too complex for you, we actually do it for you here if you're part of the total shortcut system. But how you start is by commenting. Leave me your thoughts. Share this with somebody that you know on Facebook who has an online business, and download your free PDF workbook and your audio below. And I'm actually going to see you in part 2. And remember, you do have the power to do great things, and you can build a great business online, especially if you just keep it simple and build with us as part of the Total Shortcut. Go ahead and put your name and email in the form below this video, and I'll see you in part 2.